Hey HTDA and welcome back to Techtonica. Today the goal is very simple. I want to open those last few doors we haven't opened up. I want to reactivate the elevator and basically produce everything we need in order to do that. And in order to do that, we're going to need processor units, we're going to need adamantium ingots, and we're going to need cooling systems and advanced circuits. Those four items are basically all what the end game is about. We're also going to need, for some reason, a lot of iron frames and copper frames, which for whatever reason are a vital part of all the upgrades at the end game. But we've been making these from the start of the game, so that's not going to be an issue. Okay, so first things first, I need some adamantium ore to get everything going, and we have this node over here that I kind of blasted out with my explosives earlier. I'm actually thinking that other than just paving this floor, I'm going to cut out a lot of these walls over here and kind of make everything open here and extend towards my base and just make the entire adamantium ingot factory over here, or at least the first threshing part, because honestly that's not all that interesting, and that way we can actually export the raw goods. Since we're going to need power to actually power those miners and threshers, I figured why not just have a power line and actually make use of those high voltage cables that we unlocked. Now I have to say this is very easy to do. At the same time, I'm not thrilled about how it looks. I would be inclined to just build out the power platform even further and do it that way. Now as it turns out, that's actually exactly what I'm going to need to do, because currently the power is bugged. As you can see, I am definitely transferring power to this platform. It's completely lit up, so you can see the power floors are actually working. But I also wanted to use monorails over here, and if I check my monorail, it says that it doesn't have any power available, but it does, because as you can see, it's standing on a powered floor, so it should be working, but it's not. And the reason behind that is in the current iteration of the game, well, basically power systems are kind of bugged. So either you need to power this separately, so I would need to actually have this on a completely separate power grid with its own water wheels and things like that, which is a little bit annoying, or you actually connect the entire grid together. And I don't mean by using the voltage steppers like I've done over here, but actually physically connecting the grid through power floors. I'm going to go for the latter option. But if you are building a modular factory that's quite far away from everything else, you're going to need to resort to either not using monorails, which is a shame because they're kind of cool, or you're going to have to manually connect power floors together, or, like I said, have a completely separate grid, so with its own power, etc. attached to that. But before I get into that, let me just show you quickly what I've got over here. So we have the drills making the adamantium ore. As you can see, 4 of these drills are already filling up a Mark II belt, so it's not really a complicated thing. That needs to go into a thresher, and that thresher is actually making adamantium powder as well as limestone. The limestone is a little bit annoying because currently we don't really have a use for it, so I'm just pulling it off these belts into these boxes, and then we're exporting the adamantium powder into this monorail depot over here. And if you're wondering where this is going, I'll show you in a moment. First things first, I actually needed to restore the power to the monorail, and as you can see, it is working and it's really cool. But the power floor is just basically extended here. This pillar is actually masquerading as a pillar, but also supplying the power to the underwater power floor that's over here. And now the power is actually connected to my monorail, and as you can see, it's so awesome. Yeah, zoof. It's really quick, and it's a really nice way of actually exporting things to another destination. And that destination is actually all the way in the back of my base over here, next to where I built the schifferthorn extract facility. So as you can see, it's over here. I'm making the schifferthorn over here in this facility. We're actually going to need that extract to go down here, into this facility over here. I have another one of these monorail receivers over here. As you can see, we have tons and tons of that ore already. It's really fast to transport it all the way to the other side of my factory like this. And all we're doing here is combining the schifferthorn and the powder into an assembler, along with some kindlevine, which we're actually also producing here, because remember, I also have my, on the ground floor over here, I have my base biobrick production, which is actually also producing kindlevine. And I removed the smelters that were turning the kindlevine into limestone. As you can see, we are getting less limestone in here, but honestly I have way more biobricks at this point than I ever going to need. And that means that we can use that kindle vine extract to go into here as well. So those three things combined turn this into the Atlantum ore recipe, the Atlantum mixture to be exact. And that just needs to be smelted into Atlantum ingots. So I have a whole row of smelters over here. And yes, these are actually the Mark II smelters that we got from exploring in the previous episodes. And you don't necessarily need the Mark II, by the way. You can just do this with Mark Is as well. As you can see, I actually have a couple of Mark Is here as well, because we haven't actually unlocked the Mark II just yet. But we can make them. And these are currently going into a box. Now we're definitely going to need to readjust this and actually put these bars to use. But for now, let's just have them start producing so we can actually use them elsewhere. Now, I was waiting for the Atlantum ore to be produced, or the Atlantum ingots I should say, because we need 1400 of them to actually upgrade the production terminal. I figured why not restore the waterworks in honor. As you can see, I did exactly that over here. And then I figured, well, we have a pretty high ceiling over here, so why not just make a couple of these core composers over here we can turn into some purple and blue science, because we do need to unlock a couple of more things in the technology tree. And the other places that I was storing these cubes was actually full. So another monorail, and as you can see, this is a very long monorail rails, using the waterworks, or sorry, the waterways I should say, as a kind of natural type of bus-ish. Don't think this qualifies as a real bus, but anyway, kind of serves the same purpose. As you can see, the game is starting to lag a little bit, sometimes due to the autosave, but it's also due to the amount of buildings I have at this point. It's a really easy way to just get things from A to B with those monorails. It's really efficient, really easy. The only problem is you do actually need to power the other side as well if you want anything to work on that side. So what I actually did was just build the waterworks and use that as a second power facility. And thanks to the monorails zooming around, it didn't actually take all that long to create the ingots we need. So let's upgrade the facility and see what we get.
Terminal upgraded. New technologies and recommended tasks available.
Never seen a signal jump out right after pushing a tier like that. What in the world?
So
local signal deciphered.
A signal?
Ingress FE0009. Report to production terminal radio for triangulation.
Okay.
Signal triangulated. New location added to HUD. Beware of current.
Well, the beware of current thing is the one for the accumulator, so I guess that's still a little bit bugged. I'm guessing this is sending us to locations that we already visited, so it's probably not going to matter one way or another. In order to proceed to the next tier, we're going to need advanced circuits, conveyor belts, airframes, and accumulated power. So basically everything we have other than the advanced circuits. I think we should be able to make those now, I guess. Yep, this is the one we just unlocked. So yeah, let's focus a little bit on building that. Okay, so in order to make advanced circuits, we're going to need processor units, cooling systems, and Atlantum ingots. And actually we are already producing all of that. So all we need to do is actually combine that and get our advanced circuit production going. So what I've done over here is actually make a belt go up to the platform over here where we're actually making the cooling systems, and basically just have our Atlantum ingots go up. Now, as you can see, we are a little bit bottlenecked on kindle vine extract, although it's not as bad as it looks, because we are actually completely satisfying the first couple of smelters in this row, and we are at that point producing a pretty decent array of Atlantum ingots, as you can see. So this is all backed up on this belt over here. Now this belt is going to go all the way through, right next to the cooling system production that we have going here, that we're actually using in order to make some of the other stuff downstairs. And we're basically just nicking this off the belt because we didn't need as many cooling systems as we were making. Now I also brought all the way up the processor units that we were making down here in the second box. The first box was going towards the blue science, but the second box is going to go all the way up. It's getting a little bit messy for my taste, this particular layout, but it does work. And we're basically bringing everything together that we need in order to make some circuit boards. Now, as you can see, I have a pretty decent amount already here, but this is a very slow recipe. So I'm actually going to show you how in this game you can actually make use of all the overproduction that you initially do while you're exploring and doing other stuff, and really turn that in your favor. And here you go. I basically just carved out a little bit of a platform right next to the space elevator, or, well, elevator, I guess. It doesn't actually go to space. And I'm just producing some more circuit boards over here, or advanced circuits, I should say. So this is the exact same layout as we were using it in the mall. So we have a single box with 3 exits, all using filter inserters, and putting all the required stuff into the advanced circuit assembler. We have 3 of those, basically tripling or quadrupling our production compared to what we were doing in the home base. Now, in order to make all that stuff, we're going to need to make more processors, so I basically doubled up on that production as well. While I was at it, I just did the exact same thing for the electrical components, and the exact same thing as well for the cooling systems, because again, we were underproducing those as well. Now, the nice thing about a certain layout like this is it allows you to kind of brute force some of your production if you don't want to wait as long as you would if you could completely automate this. Now, of course, automation is actually more efficient in the long run, but especially like now when we're getting to the end of the game, because this is pretty much as far as the game currently goes. As I will show you in a moment, this really allows you to take advantage of all the overproduction that you initially did without actually having to automate anything and make complex layouts. For example, the electrical components over here, they just need iron ingots and wire. We need a lot of those. So just dumping a few stacks, and we will have plenty of stacks in these boxes. We'll just make sure we have this going on. Similarly for the processors, we have plenty of electrical components as well as plant matter frames, so all we need to do is just dump those in the boxes. I actually connected the boxes to the output box, and the input box for the processors is the same as the output box for the electrical components. So this is actually actively being supplied with electrical components, so all we need to do is throw in the plant matter frames that we have been making for something like 5 or 6 episodes at this point. So I had plenty of those. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't just expand your production while you're waiting, so I did exactly that, and I kind of upgraded the waterworks, as you can see. It's a really nice place to do this. It's a nice little open area, added in a lot of water wheels as well as the crank generators, and of course a lot of these accumulators, because why not? You actually need a fair amount of power to unlock some of the later technologies, so yeah, that's where the accumulators come in. In order to unlock all that, you actually need a lot of science as well, and this room is really high, so I also figured why not just put in some more purple science. I actually didn't unlock everything yet in terms of purple science, as well as some more blue science. Now actually this is not quite sufficient yet to unlock all the blue science stuff, so if I would have to take this further, I probably need to place down maybe even like 3 or 4 of these, well, but maybe not 4, but at least 2 of these blue pillars to make sure we have enough science to unlock all the blue science stuff. But for now, this does the job, and this actually generates a lot of power. Now, the nice thing about that is we can actually bring that power to the elevator, because that also needs quite a bit of power to be activated. Speaking of activating the elevator, I plugged it into some power. I have all the required materials in order to do so. So let's see what happens if we do repair it.
Standardized sector production quota fulfilled. Freight elevator restrictions lifted.
Excellent work, both of you. We should rest for a while before we depart. I know this reconstruction has been long and difficult.
You sound tired, sir. Are you alright?
These limitations in our memories are irritating. I know that much of what I am able to remember was highly classified, but I can no longer recall the intention behind it. Someone was desperate, abusing their power. Something is not as it was.
Sir, if you're not telling me something that could help us rescue the crew or get out of here...
I understand my duties precisely, Sergeant. Choose your next words very carefully.
You don't have to keep secrets from me, sir. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, the doors opened. And that's actually not the only doors that open, because we also have access to this facility now over here. Okay, so let's do some exploring of this facility.
I can see a few things in this office, but the real prizes are in that warehouse. It might be a while before we can get in there.
There's just some story elements over here. There's a lot of stuff on this table, but there's another door in front of us. And actually, I'm not entirely sure when you're supposed to get in here, because you actually need some advanced circuits and cooling systems for this as well. And we're already making all of that. So all we need to do is just head back and grab some more advanced circuits and open the door. So I'm not entirely sure why she says it will take us a while to get in here, other than the fact that, well, making 400 advanced circuits, it actually does take a while. And thus I have returned with some more advanced circuits and cooling systems on me in order to open this door. And there's a lot of goodies on this side. For example, there is a lot of upgrades over here for more flattening, more pack size, more tunneling, basically everything you need in order to get through the game more efficiently. But the most important thing I think that is in here is the Mark II Thresher. That just speeds everything up. Although we don't really need it at this point, because honestly, everything we need to thresh, we are doing so pretty efficiently. Now, there's a couple more of those to scan. The planters up here are actually just the normal planters. There's a couple more upgrades on over here. There is another upgrade all the way over here, I believe. There we go, I spotted that from the ground floor. The rail rush is actually interesting because it allows you to run on top of the monorails. Which I found really annoying to do, and I just preferred running on the ground, but that might just be me. There's some storage boxes here as well. This one just has Mark II belts, that's not all that interesting. Another upgrade to increase the stack size, that the stack, what is the stack inserter is that's what it's called? There are some Mark II mining drills over here as well, but we'll already unlock that. There's a crank generator or two in here as well, the Mark II ones though. But other than that, there is no story here other than the stuff that is on the laptops. So actually, this I can scan as well. I don't think that really adds anything either. All in all, it feels like there's probably something more to this area that will be added in later, but right now there's not much of interest other than very nice upgrades, of course. Now, before we get into the elevator, remember there was a closed door in this facility as well? Well, we have all the required materials in order to open this one as well. Now, this is only a very small room behind this, but it again has some really nice goodies. Most importantly, it has these. These are the stack inserters. There's exactly 5 of them, and you need exactly 5 of them to scan them in order to be able to craft them. And these are basically the fastest type of inserters they can... well, the name kind of says that they can introduce entire stacks in here. Some upgrades in here as well. The hauler cap, which is not that interesting honestly, but again there's another really important thing here, and that is the Mark II assembler. So now we have Mark II for everything unlocked. There's a mole speed upgrade in here as well. Let me think, was there anything else in here? Nope, this actually leads back to the room with the TV screen that we already visited. So, oh, there's one more upgrade that I actually forgot to scan. It's the Mark II track reach. Honestly, all of those upgrades are not interesting, but mostly the Mark II machines is what you're after, as well as the stack inserter. Which leaves us with exactly one door we haven't gone through, and that is the one in the elevator. So let's go and do that.
It's good to see that the self-repair routines on the elevators have kept them as intact as the production terminals.
Colonel, just tell me. Do you think we're going to find anybody else?
Yes. If nothing else, I believe Pacific is alive. Flag officer restrictions could not be maintained on these elevators if their vital signs did not remain. However, the emergency code I used to initialize the elevator, the Phoenix Protocol, was an option of last resort. It was created to function only if less than 5% of the entire expeditionary force could be detected within Calyx.
5%?
I do not know why. But there is no doubt now that very few of us remain.
So, they're gone. They're really gone. My entire crew.
And the Qualter is an even greater mystery. To expect such a small remainder of our forces to uphold so much production. It is as if Command had some expectations that this could happen. But why?
Warning. Mechanical integrity failing.
System! Halt elevator!
Breaker, search the panel for a manual brake lever.
Hold on. Should be. Override. Almost. Wait. Sparks.
Sparks? What?
Quickly! Find something to hold on to!
Sparks. I can save you. Integrity failure corrected. Alarm state deactivated. Returning to origin for analysis and self-repair.
Sergeant, was the system message? Speaking to you.
I don't know. I've never heard it talk like that. Or say my name. Or say anybody's name.
We are alive because of it.
No. No, there has to be an explanation. We have to take it apart. Breaker, I want you
Sergeant, we must put this aside. We are not safe here. When the elevator stops, we will exit. We will find the answer to this together. You are not alone.
Well then.
Your report, Sergeant.
For now, it seems like we won't be going anywhere. The self-repair we were so enthusiastic about looks like it'll be starting over from scratch.
So long as it is making progress, I suggest we use the time to continue developing our manufacturing capacity here. It may be of benefit to us in further sectors.
Agreed.
Remain prepared. It will be time before you know it.
Okay, so we get to prepare for further sectors. That sounds very, very, very promising. Although, currently I don't think that any of that is in the game. So if you look at the technology tree, we just unlocked a whole ton of stuff. Specifically a lot of stuff to actually craft things like assemblers Mark II, smelters Mark II, etc. that we still have to unlock. I do have some signs for that. A couple of these things are really expensive as well. 400 signs for just to unlock. Biobrick density that we don't really need is quite a lot. The stack inserters, we have the well, basically we have a lot of things like crank generators and stuff like that as well to really ramp up the production. That said, I don't think there's really a point right now in the game to do this. Well, unless you just have fun expanding your facilities, of course. But this is as far as the game goes. If you look at the elevator itself, they mentioned that you can, again, repair it, and that it will take some time, but you'll get to that. But you will already reach the maximum upgrade level as it is. So, this is where I'll be stopping this particular series, mainly because this is kind of as far as the game goes right now. I will definitely be revisiting this as the game continues to be developed. This is a really, really fun game. I really like it. I might actually kind of make another playthrough and see how I can optimize the facility based on everything that we've learned so far. I've showed you one way of building it, but as you could see near the end, it does get a little bit messy because we basically have all our production in one single place, which is not necessarily the most optimal thing to do. Well, depending on what you call optimal, of course, but still, I think there's a couple of other ways to approach this, and I do like exploring that. There's, again, a lot of content creators that already made like super facilities, like these are really large ones. That's not really my style, typically. I think keeping it more manageable in terms of something that someone could actually build in a normal amount of playtime is the way I also like to play the games and show it to you. So, I'm gonna play around with that, see if I can come up with anything that's interesting and that I want to show you. For now, I do really hope that you enjoyed this particular series. I will actually be going on holiday, so there might be about a week of a bit less content after this comes out. But I will definitely be back with some more things. If there's anything in particular that you would like me to show you or build, or any particular games that you want me to show, Let me know in the comments. I would always appreciate all the input I can get. If you're still here, you're awesome, and I do hope to catch you in the next one.